As a CIO, your job is to ensure that yourself and your function and your team is not seen as a vendor. I ask you for a task and you're an order taker and you go and do it. So I guess where I started off was similar to where John went around ensuring that your systems are available, whether it's a 24/7, whether they're reliable so that your customers always have access. That gives you the ticket to play to start off with. Ensuring that the security is there. That is your foundations. But part of another extension of those foundations is really then how do you build, how do you transform, how do you change, and how do you implement and drive businesses forward, and how do you enable businesses to grow and to do all of that at the same time. So you can't do one without the other is my view. That's just your bread and butter. You have to do those 4 things: reliability, accessibility, availability, security. That is that is ground zero. But then how do you structure your teams and how do you align with the business to actually drive growth and value out of technology? How do you demonstrate that? How do you demonstrate ROI? And how do you get businesses to really care about technology and what the value it is for them and why it is so critical and important to them that at the end of the day, when you think about it, we are all really technology companies at heart.
Oh, absolutely.
So it's really whether you want to broach that conversation or not with the stakeholders, or whether they see themselves as, you're a cost center, like, talk to the hand, like just reduce my cost.
But it's also saying, Memo, when you've got the foundations correct, you've earned the right to be assertive about some of these things. You're not a back office service provider to the business. You're helping shape the business going forward, and you've got to take focus about how you can extend operational excellence into areas like velocity and agility and productivity and areas like that.
Absolutely. And I'm referring to it as being a partner with the business, which I'm choosing my words very carefully there. I think it's really important. You're not a vendor, and it shouldn't be. As a CIO, your job is to ensure that yourself and your function and your team is not seen as a vendor. I ask you for a task and you're an order taker and you go and do it. You actually contribute to that end state. You contribute to the growth of that business, and the way you do that is through the agility, the velocity, the alignment of technology to business objectives. But even more that, you're co-driving that business growth by, whether it's, we throw the words innovation out there quite a lot, whether you're actually looking at the art of the possible and how do you solve bigger problems for the business through technology to differentiate them, to really do all of those things. So the foundations are one thing, and they build trust. If you can't keep your systems running when they need to be running to service your customers, you're not going to get the trust or the voice at that table.
Yeah. And there's a couple of things I'm interested here in, because the first thing I think is, what sort of metrics or indicators give you the confidence that you've got this covered effectively? Are there certain things that you need to have a sort of mental dashboard of, I'm doing this and that? And I think so I think that's the first question. And the second one I forgot as I was going through and assigning my age. So, but there is an angle of let me come to it. Let me look at the metrics side of things that first on that, and I'll think of the other one.
I can help you out with the metrics side. So the metrics, if you go and Google DORA metrics, for instance, it's really 5 key measures that you really look at that cover all of that. You've got stability measures that you look at, and that's really around time to restore services and so forth. Change failure. How many issues are you getting once as a result of your teams releasing change in there? So that talks all towards stability. You've obviously got a whole heap around security and around how you're actually, without diving into cybersecurity in too much detail, you've got some key measures that you need to be looking at there to see, how are you dealing with vulnerabilities? How quickly are you dealing with them? How are you identifying them? What monitoring do you have in place that is looking at those? Then you've got your operational performance, and that is really around reliability. How often are you getting, whether it's priority 1, priority 2, priority 3 incidents, and so, and then you're starting to look at the other side around velocity. What's your deployment frequency? How quickly and how often are you releasing change into the environment, and so on? What's the mean lead time for change? So how quickly are you releasing or deploying deploying change? And what's the mean time to actually develop that and put it into production? So there's some key elements that you really look at as a dashboard that really gives you an idea around where you need to tweak things, where you need to optimize, where's the continuous improvement, because all at the end of the day around continuous improvement and continuously being able to make tweaks. These measures aren't there to have a stick, and they're really to inform you as to what's working really well and what could do with a few more changes, and what the teams need to tweak on.